What's up, guys? Welcome back to Cool Fred's Garage. So today on Cool Fred's Garage, I'm doing a little bit of work on the 1978 Malibu Classic. So last video got the engine in the car. So engine sitting down in there, nice and pretty. So pretty much today I'm just taking a little time after work just to do a little something to it. So what I'm gonna do today is finish getting the transmission in the car, because I got the engine in but didn't have time to get the transmission in there. Alright folks, so this right here is the 1978 Malibu Classic. This one is a Landu. So I'm not sure exactly what the Landu was on this one. I'm familiar with some of the Landu bought Chevys, like the Caprices. I'm not sure if that just means it's a coupe or if it's a certain, if it's just a trim package. I guess that means that it's a coupe. So you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm not sure if it's a Landu. Does that give it a few different options that set it apart from like the base, just the regular Classic? But I did notice that it does have the that it's got the half vinyl top in the back. So so it's a pretty nice car. But yeah, 1978 Malibu Classic. I'm doing an engine swap for one of my classmates I went to high school with. So we swapped out the 305. This right here is the built engine, the rebuilt engine that's in here. It was built by a speed shop. So 350, 30 over. It's like a 355 with aluminum heads and all that stuff on there. So last video I talked about the engine, showed you guys, revealed the engine to y'all, and dropped it in the car. So today, as I spoke about earlier, I'm gonna try to get the transmission. So the transmission's under the car on the jack. Can't really see it much from here, but a little bit. So it's hiding up under there. So I'm gonna go up under the car and show you. So I already got the torque converter in there. So that's it right there. So it's basically just ready to lift up in there. Shouldn't take me too long to get it in there, so just want to try to get it up under there and get it supported in there. Looks like there's a spider web. You guys probably can't see it, but there it is. You can see it. I didn't know if my camera was gonna pick it up, but yeah, it looked like it's a spider trying to make a home up under here. I don't see the spider, but I do see the web. But we're just gonna knock that out of the way. But transmission's up under there. Try to get that bolted in and try to get the cross member up under there, get it mounted in. So I talked about the torque converter. So that's the part number right there, 20483. So that's a 3000 RPM whole shot converter. It's the 10-inch converter, so that should get this thing launching from a stop light or from a stop pretty good. So if you guys don't know, the job of the torque converter is basically to multiply the torque, but the aftermarket torque converters, you can get them in different stall speeds, and the stall speed is basically what helps you out, especially when you have a cam in the car. So that's what you need to order the torque converter per your cam specs, so it matches up. Because a lot of times when you go with a high performance cam, that shifts up the power band that the engine makes power. And if you had a bone stock converter, like the stock converter that's in this 200C over here, so that's probably like a 1500 RPM stall from the factory. So basically, if you try to take off with that behind this motor, like, it's basically, it's gonna stall and bog down the motor. So, and I've been guilty of that 20 plus years ago. You guys probably know the feeling. Your friend probably threw a cam and some headers and a few goodies on an old school car and got in it. It seemed like it's running pretty good. That's my bug zapper up there going off. But you get in the car, seemed like the engine's running pretty good, pretty strong, but you go to take off with it and it just kind of, as you started off, kind of bogs down. So that problem can be solved by putting the right stall converter and torque converter in the car. So now that that's out of the way, I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of take a brief look under the car. So I got my transmission lines are down in there. Actually everything looks good. I can see a lot of stuff from this side over here. I'm just gonna get down under here just to see how things look. I'll probably put a light on this side also, but actually it's not looking too bad. But I'm gonna get a light under here, and I'm gonna start going up with the transmission. But I'm just pretty much just kind of mapping things out because I haven't been out here in a couple days. Just checking my clearance and stuff like that. But this looks like a piece of cake. So I should have it in there in no time. All right, so here we go right here. So as I mentioned before, I got my got this transmission on my Harbor Freight jack here. So pretty much, I'm just gonna raise it up. And the nice thing about this jack right here, when you're under the car, maybe getting a little bit of glare from my light over there, but this thing has a 360-degree rotating handle, so I can, and then you gotta control, your control valve is right here to let it up and down. So that's kind of pretty sweet. So I can just kind of jack up on it like that and move it back and forth. But another thing I was gonna show you guys is I got a few of the tools right now. I'm just trying to get about there's one bolt actually attached to the harness. It's just loose in the harness. So between that and these 3 bolts here, I got 4 bolts. I'm just trying to get a few bolts into it. And I got my electric ratchet, and I got a locking extension right here with a universal, and I just got an extra. You know, I don't have my long extension with me that I normally use to pull transmissions at work, but I got this one right here. So I'm gonna knock these spider webs out of the way. Hopefully I don't see no big hairy spider come out. But got that out of the way, and I'm just gonna let this up into place, and then I'm gonna get it in the car. All right, so far everything's working out pretty good. But this right here, the only light I got right here is just a little. I got lights, but you see that one over there is just super bright. I got that up under here. That's an adjustable LED, by the way, and I got that one actually turned down. That one gets pretty bright, and then this other one is just this Craftsman light here. They just kind of what I grabbed real quick, but so right now as I'm going up, I'm just watching out for the wiring harness, and I'm just gonna kind of just stick this bolt with this harness through here. So hopefully I can use that with this metal pipe. I'm not sure if that's going to interfere with the header or not, but that'll just kind of help keep some of the heat off off the wire. So these kind of jacks are kind of easy to use. Another thing I was going to point out is you got your tilt and your rotate here, so you can rotate it. Just looking at my hand, you can rotate it left to right a little bit or up and down like that. So I put 3 or 4 transmissions in with this jack, and I kind of love how it operates under the car. It's very simple to use. It seems like I'm kind of catching on something on the other side. I'm gonna let it down just a little bit. I probably just need to just push it up. There we go. Pushing it up just a little bit. Adjust my height. That's probably what it was. But I'm very close to being in there, so I'm gonna check out the other side, see how things are looking. I may have to actually rotate it because I'm looking at my dial pins. Yeah, I needed to rotate it just a little bit. I'm gonna see how I'm looking on the other side, and then I should be close to getting this thing bolted up. All right, so I got another one of my Harbor Freight tools out here. This little handy light here. So that's gonna help me. It's gonna help me see a little bit better here. So actually, we're looking pretty good. Not looking bad at all. So over here, we kind of close. I need to kind of adjust this thing out just a little bit. To get it fitting square, but it's almost there. It's almost on the dial. So if I go up and if I kind of play around with it, get it leveled out a little bit, we ought to be able to make something happen here. Alright, so it looks like me is sitting on the dial over here. But what I'm going to do is go up top just to kind of look in the back by the wire harness and stuff. Kind of in the back of the motor. Just to make sure that nothing's pinched in between there. So everything over here is looking good. Some of it's a little tricky to see. There's maybe about a 1/4 inch gap between the bell housing and the engine. So I got another light here. So these are some nice lights. They're rechargeable from Harbor Freight, the Braun. I can just whip them out. So actually we're looking good over here. We can actually put a few bolts and start it. But I'm trying to make sure it's matching up on both sides. Which it looks like we are. Yeah, so the transmission is pretty much up there. I can get me a few bolts and get it started. Alright, so still just kind of playing around with it just a little bit, just trying to get it in the right spot. There we go. I think I'm really close there. So I kind of almost had it earlier, but I think my angle was off just a little bit, so that might be just as... I'm pretty much in on this side, so I'm just gonna have to run a couple. Probably put a screw at the bottom on this side, run a couple on the other side, and just kind of snug it up. Alright, I'm gonna go to the other side and snug it up, make sure it's even. But another thing I want to make sure is that I can turn my torque converter and that that's not binding, so I can spin that, so that's good. Alright, so I'm up top, basically in the engine compartment, and I don't know, it just seems like there's a lot more room back here kind of in this area, so I can get to the transmission bolts and stuff like that versus the original 305. I guess because, you know, the carburetor and those hoses, but I think it's just a lot of the emissions control stuff that was on the old 305. So I'm gonna put one of the bolts. I got two top bolts up here to put in. One of them, the dipstick is gonna go through, and then this one right here is up here on the at the wiring harness here. So I'm able to pretty much easily get that one in there. No problem. Get that one threaded in. And then I guess I'm gonna test fit the dipstick. And I also got the kick down cable too. So then there's actually a ground. So this right here is the pigtail for the oil pressure switch. And this is for the ignition hot for the distributor. So those are back here nice and neat. So the only thing now I gotta figure out is the dipstick. See how that's gonna wrap. Alright, so on this particular car, I don't know if I mentioned this when pulling the old engine and trans combo out, but there's a bolt up here in the top left corner on the driver's side. So it's like I can get to it. I can get a magnet or whatever and get a bolt in there, but the body of the car, the transmission tunnel, is just the way they kind of, when they put the car together from the factory, it's got it's kind of like, I guess, like a pinch weld, or like basically where they put two pieces of the metal together, but basically it's kind of like that little round curve area that's in there. It's like a little slight, kind of like a little slight lip. So what I'm gonna wind up doing is, let me position this light back over this way. What I'm wind up doing is I'm just gonna lower my jack, and hopefully I'll be able to just lower it just a little bit. And I'm gonna get my long extension and go up in there. But right now what I gotta do is I'm pretty much gonna have to raise it back up a little bit, get it off the oil pan, and then come back and do that same thing again, so I can get it at a good tilt, so I can get that bad boy, so I can get access to it basically. Another thing is I ain't have this side over here all the way snug. I got it snug now. Alright, so now I'll try to get it tilted a little bit. Let's see what we got. See, right now I got it tilted enough where I should be able to I can put this bolt on its extension and start that bolt in, and hopefully I can get the one up there by the wiring harness too, the one I just put in from the top. Hopefully I can get all of those down here at the bottom. Alright, so I just got those transmission bolts in on the other side. So basically I'm gonna go ahead and tighten all of them down except for the one where the dipstick goes, because I need to try to get the dipstick down in here. I got my gear wrench, torque wrench here, You guys probably can't, well, there it is right there. So I got my torque wrench. I'm gonna tighten all those bolts down to 25 Newton meters. Alright, so what I'm about to do now is put in the dipstick. So this right here is the dipstick that the customer purchased. It's a TCI dipstick. Let me see, I think that's the part number right there, but alright, so yes, that's the part number right there. That's 743860. It's labeled as a universal dipstick that's supposed to fit 350, 400, and the 200 GM transmissions. It also fits the 200 R4. The only one it doesn't fit is the 700 R4. But what they've done here, they got a combination of this hardware right here, where on some transmissions you use this stud and this bracket, and a combination of either this nut with that stud or this right here in this washer and that nut. So depending on your setup, so that is kind of nice because it's the first time me seeing a dipstick that can work for multiple applications, so that's cool. But right here we got a 350 Chevy. It says no cutting necessary. Actually, all these say, I think the only one you have to cut is the 200B. That's that Buick Oldsmobile, I guess Cadillac. The one with that funky bell housing. But like that style bell housing right there. So in our case, we got the 350 Chevy. Say no cutting necessary, so you just use the clip. So it's like I just got to position the clip how they kind of got it, and then I'll be able to use a combination of that nut and that lock washer. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to get this thing in. So first things first, I'm gonna separate this this grommet here, this little washer, or it's kind of like a grommet seal. So I'm gonna put this down in the transmission, and then as you put the stick down in here, you see it's kind of beveled. It's gonna seal as it seats inside of the transmission. So that's important to know. Alright, so I'm up under the car messing around with this transmission tube. So just a little bit ago, I basically just talked about this particular one and the part number and all of that stuff like that. So I'm putting it in the car, test fitting it and checking it out and stuff like that. So every now and again on Cool Fred's Garage, I might have a Cool Fred's tip of the day, or I may have, like, you know, a tip of advice or something like that, or something that I kind of recommend, or maybe something that I figured out that might help other people. But yeah, but in this particular case, 'cause I'm sure on the G bodies and certain cars that this dipstick fits, because I know these transmissions are pretty universal. So, but I'm sure they got several different universal pieces. But a lot of times, versus like certain companies, I guess they refer to like retrofit or a superseded part or something like that. So basically, this transmission dipstick may be slightly different from the one that was available from the factory and stuff like that. But a lot of times what they do, because they know a lot of these cars are similar, but they might have slight differences. Like, so in this case, they got this bracket system that you use to fit it. So basically, I don't know if you guys can see it, but I put the brackets up there on top of the transmission. You kind of see it right there, the black bracket. It kind of like kicks out a little bit and stuff like that. So the reason a lot of these companies do that is so basically you can have one part or a part with a kit. They call it maybe a parts kit. It may have a couple parts in there, adapters and stuff like that. Like this has that stud adapter, and it has this. So basically they can sell one part number with a few accessories that fit multiple applications, instead of having them make like 3 or 4 different parts to fit all these different applications. So this is my first time using this particular dipstick, but I think it's pretty cool because it can fit multiple applications and you can make it work. But I was trying to put it in from the top and I couldn't seem to get it to go. Maybe if I lower the transmission down it will work, but what I found that works out the best is just sliding it up from the bottom. So feeding it up like this way, feeding it up through the car through the bottom. That's working out just fine. So I've already test fitted these, by the way, but I had to get that bracket a little bit tighter up there. So basically just kind of slide that up in there, and I mean it pretty much fits just like a glove, and then press down on it. But what I gotta do now is I gotta get up there and kind of put the bolt in that lock washer with the nut in there. So once you do that, you kind of like up here, where you guys can see kind of where it matches up. It's probably a little tricky to see. I probably gotta show you from the top, but at a certain point, you kind of get where it almost matches up, and you can get the bolt and the nut through there. I can kind of see it, but the angle of my camera is probably a little difficult to get in there to see exactly where it's at. There it is right there in the top, kind of the top right corner. So you can kind of see like where you can kind of see both straight through both of the holes. So I just need to get up there and put the bolt and the lock washer on there, and then I can torque down the bolt for the transmission through the bell housing. Then I can go up there from the top and kind of push down on this and then tighten the other bolt up. So this seal they use is pretty good too. So you just push the seal down there like I showed you guys before, and then you push the dipstick all the way down and you'll tighten it up once it's all the way down right there. Alright, so under the vehicle, I've already gone ahead and put the new transmission mount on there. The bolt holes are different, or the bolts rather. So the 200C had metric bolts. The 350 transmission uses a 716-14, I believe. That's the bolt that goes in there. So the bolt has a 5/8 head on it, but so standard bolts in the 350 transmission for the mount, and on the 200C it used the metric bolts, which were different. So those metric bolts didn't work. But this is a new Summit mount that's on here. So I got that on here, and I'm trying to get the cross member under here, and I'm just gonna put just a couple of bolts and just kind of just snug them just a little bit, and just to kind of like just to let it down on the cross member. So that's pretty much the plan for the night. All right, so another thing I noticed, so basically I got to use my step stool and kind of hop in the engine bay here. All right, so I'm up here in the engine bay, standing on the sway bar. But so back here on the transmission, on the dipstick, so it's in there, but I kind of noticed to make it match up a little bit better, I need to flip that bracket right there around. So I can kind of reach in here a little bit and take this screw out, and I'm just gonna turn this back, turn this bracket. I'm just gonna flip it around. I can kind of take it out like that. So I'm just gonna take it and flip it like that, and then put the screw in the opposite way. And just kind of test fitting it, I kind of noticed that it matches up better this way. So that's the way it was intended for it to be. But I do got a little bit of room back here. I guess once the carburetor and all that stuff is on, I'm probably not gonna have the same room, but right now I got a little bit of room. I think it's got something to do with just the emission control stuff that's on the other motor. I'm not, for some reason, I feel I have more room in here. So there we go right there. So that's the dipstick. It may be a little tricky to see because of this LED light I got here, but and you can kind of see the dipstick. These screws here will go through there and hold it in, and that's how you're able to put that in. And actually, it's gonna sit about here in this area here, which ain't too bad for the dipstick. So like I was saying earlier, this is my first time using this universal style dipstick, and it's working out fine. So it's working out good.